for the serious gamer.
Hey, what's going on? It's Gunsfire from NextGenTactics, and I want to talk briefly about the Black Ops combat training mode, and just sort of give you my opinions on it. And then you guys can, of course, I encourage feedback. I encourage that you guys leave your opinions and let me know what you guys think. But here's my take on it. Number one, it's a great learning tool for inexperienced or, basically novice players, just sort of to get the feel of multiplayer without risking, your precious kill-death ratio or anything like that. If you don't really care about that, then it really probably serves no purpose. But if you want to be a little more competitive, if you want to sort of harness and hone your skills before you jump in on the online sort of world and want to be, like, hey, I got a really good kill-death ratio. If you want to work on that sort of stuff there, then it's probably a good idea to sink a little bit of time in there. It's at least good for, looking around maps and maybe figuring stuff out and figuring out good vantage points. That's typically what I use combat, like let's say for Killzone 2. I used the sort of bots, doing the same sort of thing, a combat training mode, to play against bots, the enemy player, our AI, for sort of search and destroy tactics. And basically I was able to use that to establish and find very unique and very effective sniper defense points, like way across the map. And basically I could always set it so that I knew the team was going there. I'd position myself as far away, but with a sight line actually on the bomb target. And I'd be able to find some pretty unique sniper positions that were very useful in Killzone 2. And I'll actually, if you want, I'll put a link to one of them. I'll see if I can find one, maybe. Don't yell at me if I didn't put a link on the video, but or in the description. But anyway, that's what I did. So I see it having some sort of uses. However, it's limited, and I don't fully... This is the first thing where I'm going to sort of not support the hype that they're trying to build around the combat training mode. Do not put so much effort into this. Do not think that it's going to be really good and you're actually going to be able to accelerate. The huge problem, here's the main problem with the combat training. You're playing against computer players. While it's good to, if you set it at the maximum difficulty level, it's good to increase your reaction speeds, sort of for running and gunning and stuff like that. It is going to help you sort of stay sort of in tune with that. But in terms of strategies, in terms of figuring out routes and how to actually beat other online players, it is not a good effective tool. If any of you've used any sort of combat training for any, versus online, and I'll say it again, like Killzone 2, there is a drastic difference between how a computer plays and how humans play, how you and I actually play on there. Humans are unpredictable. We may follow certain patterns, which is what sort of they try and think that the AI is actually going to do as well, and they try and say, well, they'll likely take this route or likely take that route. But the unpredictability of other gamers, like such as you and myself, are such that if you practice too much with this combat training, it'll actually probably hurt you because you're thinking it's too predictable. The movements and everything usually that are sort of introduced by playing against bots are predictable. And we all know that in any online game, as a general consensus, the gamers are unpredictable. You have no idea what they're going to do. I mean, that's the whole point where you're in one lobby and certain tactics work against those people, and then all of a sudden you go into the very next game with a different set of people, and even if it was the exact same map, your tactics may not work at all because everyone plays a little bit differently, and that's where the problem sort of lies with this. So yes, good for novice, beginner players definitely to sort of get used to it, feel the water, and maybe even for intermediate players, average players, to sort of keep that the reaction speeds honed so that you can go. I would recommend going on the highest, and even if you don't win, that's what you want. You don't want to go in there so that you can easily defeat them. If you can easily defeat them, it serves no purpose. It serves absolutely no purpose. So as a beginner, I would definitely say, set it at I wouldn't set it really at low. I mean, maybe set it at low, and if you're able to do well, set it considerably higher, because you want them to kick your ass. If they're not beating you, you're not going to learn anything. You're not going to learn to bring your game level up to theirs at least. So there is, you know, some application for it. I'm not knocking it. I think it's great that they've introduced it, but again, it does have its limitations rather, and I wouldn't put too much effort into it. But we'll have to see sort of what is involved overall in the combat training when it's released. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. The other thing that I wanted to briefly talk about with it, which I think maybe, hopefully, maybe someone at Treyarch can watch this video. We can tell them to watch this. But here's my suggestion. If you're going to create a combat training mode and you really want it to sort of apply broad spectrum from your novice player up to your experienced / semi-pro MLG player, not that there would be, but anyway, if you want to really capture that and really have it sort of appeal to that broad audience and that broad skill level, you need to introduce something that Bungie does. And the likelihood, they won't probably be able to introduce it on Black Ops. It would take a tremendous amount of programming. But for those of you that don't know, especially PlayStation owners, Bungie has a website that tracks online gameplay. When you say you're playing Halo Reach, or any of the previous Halos, you play Halo Reach for instance, as you're playing it, it knows every game you've played. It not only knows every game you've played, but every other game that everyone else played. So you could go onto any map online on Bungie.net or .com or whatever it is, I can't remember. Anyway, you can go on there and it'll show for every game type and every map, it'll show hotspots where most people get killed, where most people or fire their weapon or get caught. Just general hotspots. It tracks all of this information. So this is what I say needs to be done. If you really want to create the next Call of Duty, maybe Black Ops 2, maybe for the next one. So Treyarch, if you're listening, listen carefully. Take that sort of lead from Bungie. What they've done is incredible. What they've done is been able to track it. And you're doing the same sort of thing with your theater mode. So you're getting definitely on the same level where you're recording games and this is sort of stored. But at the same time, you need to be able to extrapolate all the information from every single gamer, no matter where they're from, and sort of make raw data that's applicable, the hotspots maps. And if you're able to take that, and this is where the combat training mode gets in gear, and we kind of melt the two together. Take that information from real games with the real gamers and implement that and somehow into the actual bots, the artificial intelligence, when you're playing combat training. So if you want to train, if you truly want to train for online gaming, to actually have the bots, the artificial intelligent combat trainer, you know, when you're playing against the computer, to have them mimic what's happening in the real online games, that would perfect your gaming. That would help you increase. And to increase, you know, having a bot, a computer bot that has the reaction speeds lightning fast, which you can set way beyond anything that you could possibly ever have, or any online gamer really. I mean, if it's the computer, that in conjunction with real-time stats, real-time routes, and what actual gamers really do, melt the two together, and there you go. You have the ultimate combat training mode. That's what I think really needs to be done. But this is definitely a good step. It's definitely, don't get me wrong, I think Treyarch's doing a stupendous job of introducing the concepts that should be there. You know, the theater mode, we got the combat training mode, and all the other stuff. But what they need is to step it up. The next gen, the next gen consoles, and maybe the Call of Duty that comes out for there, the one that really should be like, wow, that's a friggin', now they finally nailed it, they finally got it. And I think we're heading in that direction. But doing a combat mode that integrates what Bungie has done for Halo, but picks it up a notch, goes beyond what they've done, and creating a combat training that takes that information and applies it and lets the computer mimic it, that will train gamers to be better. That will train even, you know, seasoned players, above average, maybe not MLG Pro, but you know, likelihood it's going to help you get there anyway. So that's my take. Anyway, that's the way I think the combat training mode for the next one, maybe Black Ops 2, should definitely be done. But, you know, overall for this one, just be aware, don't spend too much time on the combat training. Use it once in a while to sort of stay sharp. That's the only thing I could recommend. And again, for novice, you know, dive in there, get used to it, but don't spend too much time in it. Get in the actual online games and perfect it that way. Anyway, I'm Guns for Hire. It's been another little sort of little information, opinions, stir it up, leave your comments, let me know what you think. You think it's a good idea? If that's something that you'd like, I mean, hell, we should, if it is, and I think it should be, then definitely, you know, thumbs it up, put the likes on there, and maybe we could get someone from Treyarch or someone from Activision to see this and integrate it, because I think it would be a real kick-ass idea if they did that, and that would really send Call of Duty to the next level in terms of taking it serious like Halo players do. Anyway, I'm GunsForHire. Peace, guys.